Because again, they cannot tell you how that happened. They cannot tell you what he done it. They cannot tell you what they use to inflict that defect. Because again, forensic terms are very important. Forensics are very important. The language that is used in the forensic report is essential. So when the forensic report tells you and recognize what we could call a wound, they call it a defect. Listen, they called it a defect. A defect. With that, they telling you that, well, it's not supposed to be there, but it's there. How it happened, we don't not know. Yo no sé. No sé. Lo siento. Perdóneme. Pero no sé qué fue lo que sucedió a este cuerpo. In other words, in English, I do not know what happened to this body. When you use the terms defect, in my opinion, you can't even call it a wound or an incision, because you don't know what that did it. You call it an object. Obviously something did it. Somehow it happened. But the language that you utilize on your report is very important in court. Which at that moment, I don't know if the medical examiner, the coroner, call it whatever you want to call it, is actually thinking on a prosecution of this case. Because at this moment in the forensic report is called two defects, one 2.5 inches and the other is 1.5 inches. 607. You know me, I started making calls, details about it. You could have survived those. Where the positioning of both defects and the depth of it? All my research indicates that you will definitely survive wounds like that. Of course, if you don't get no medical attention, in the long run, you will possibly die out of those wounds. But that is, you don't get it treated, you will be incapacitated, you will be hurt, you will be injured, but you could last a long time before death while you're bleeding out. It's a chance that you could put enough pressure to it that at some point start bleeding. I doubt that, just because where the death and where those staff were. It seems like, in my opinion, I would like to say, again, it's my opinion. That could have got done with a small knife in a moment of passion, arguing. You stab the person twice, but it's a feeling there. You actually love this person. That's why when you stab her, if that was the case, you didn't stab her to kill her. You stab her to inflict pain, but not to kill. But now you wounded. Now you bleeding, and they cannot tell you, yeah, let's take you to the hospital, because it was could be a domestic violence situation in the middle of a heated argument. He got so pissed off, hit her twice, but again, not meant to kill. But you already crossed the line. And again, I want to say something very clear. Jrod on point do not know nothing that it has not been revealed about this case today. And I'm not even being funny and do the wink wink like I do sometimes. But I think Jane and Amy Conway, while listening to me, they could read between the lines, because they've been here long enough. They could read very, very well between the lines when I speak. Hopefully everyone else is following, but I have to be very clear as far as legal terms within an investigation, especially when everything, the majority of stuff is sealed. So I want to make sure that y'all know, but y'all know that when I get into a case or I speak about a case, I'm very, very precise. Like I'll when I want to know something. Hello, 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 yeah. Saludo, mire, todo bien la familia. Mira, sí, mira, qué cosa, chicos, tenemos que hablar. But I want to make sure that y'all know the Jrod on point and the On Point family, the On Point Rican, do not know no specifics, no detail that it has not been put out. I don't know nothing. What I could tell you is my opinion. What I could tell you is my interpretation of the facts that is being put out there between the government and private sector, far as this content out there and whatever you could Google and stuff like that, and just a little bit that I could sprinkle with my own journalist investigative methods, which I try to always keep that on display very secretly. I think, again, and I repeat, I appreciate Amy Conway and Jane. Like, listen, my sister from Costa Rica and the UK. I think that by now they know how I work. So it could be the chance in the moment of heat, hit it twice. Now you have a domestic violence case, a possible domestic violence case. While she's missing, while she's in a missing person report, while